Money supply is getting so tight around the world. Banks have increased their interest rates so much that it's now causing issues to obtain credit around the world. UK, US, and even the Eurozone. Economists are now calling for the idea that the money supply is dropping down so drastically that it's signaling the eyes of recession. So if any of you currently have a credit card or a mortgage on a variable rate, it ain't looking too good for you when it comes to the repayments, because quite frankly, if it's expensive for banks, it's going to be expensive for you. Mad love and respect for passing through to today's New York live stream. I haven't been on for a little while, but we're about to bring you some flavor. Bitcoin's made a move to the upside, huh? 30K, ladies and gentlemen. All the guys are now running to the charts. Bitcoin's going to go for it. So let's just bring some law and order and make sense of what has unfolded, because the market is pumping up. The economy is cowering down, and it's like, yo, things are pretty bad. We've got dollar looking to crash. We've got new currencies getting set up by China, Russia, and South Africa with the BRICS. Oil on this madness. Like, is it going to fill the gap or not? Who knows? But today we're going to dive into the charts and break it all down. So if you are new and you're enjoying the flavor, hit that like button, because it's getting a little bit lonely up there. Let's have a conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Let's roll with it. Okay, then. So what have we got? Bitcoin, nice 30K range, and it's at a very important zone. So let's just jump back to the good old daily time frame. Remember what we said about this bad boy right here. The 800 EMA, which is this dark purple line right here. Anything beyond that would lead us to believe price is going to come down, but we didn't see the break of it. So it went in line with what we expect of price going up from there. Now, this is what you want to try and get familiar with when you come to the charts. Quite frankly, guys, you can either buy or you can sell. That's the basis of it all. That's all you can do. 95% of traders lose when they come to make a decision whether to go long or short. It's a 50-50, red or black, done. When you come to the chart, all you need to be aware of is, how much money am I going to risk to see if I can generate a profit? Once you've got that figure, are you comfortable with that figure? Because if you ain't comfortable with that figure, Bitcoin's volatility is going to bully you out of the trade. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm such a bad trader, I was wrong. And you start diving into this, got to go back to the lab and start studying all that stuff. But then you go into it again and you repeat the same thing. So is it really a system, or is it just you not executing correct risk management? Like I said, the easiest way to understand if you have got the right risk management is if you open a trade and you can go to bed and not worry about it. That's good risk management, because if you have to be fixated on the charts and continuously looking at it, you're going to be in a little bit of a tension and start getting anxiety and feeling, oh my days, I can't let go of this chart or trade. And you're then going to be putting yourself in a situation to be acting irrationally when you need to be as rational and as logical and as systematic and as objective as possible when it comes to trading in any market. Okay? So let's break it all down. Big green vector candle on Bitcoin yesterday. Nice. Bitcoin now breaks that key 30K zone. Let's have a look at some liquidations. So who's paying the price? So the retail traders that are running shorts in this area up here, they are being challenged and tested, because what happens is this. When people have a bias of belief that they can't see Bitcoin moving up anymore, they open shorts. And that's what the market does. It will attack those who are wrong, and it just keeps on going up and up and up. Now, the retail trader is always going to be thinking that the market surely can't keep on going up forever. We realized that when we saw Ethereum break that 1800 and it just shifted out and it didn't stop. Okay? Bitcoin's sort of doing the same thing right now. It's come away from a very important area on the daily time frame. And it's already taken what we can see right here, around $22.3 billion worth of short liquidations. So those people in shorts are now giving themselves a little knock on the head saying, man, I ain't too right on this trade. Maybe if I start adding more, maybe if I just go short again, I might actually grab the top. Because come on, Bitcoin's moved up 70% in the first quarter. Wow. What a move, huh? Check this out. go back into the chart. The logic would suggest that Bitcoin is en route to make another move higher, okay? Let's zoom out a little bit and look at where Bitcoin is. Bitcoin right now is currently sat between this very important area, which is currently the 28,000 and, of course, the 32,344. What is this area? Price action principles suggest that this area would be an area of supply. In other words, where they sold from, you're probably going to see the same reaction happen. But this is where it gets interesting. If Bitcoin, because you can see on the daily time frame, we've come away from the 800 EMA. So we've now found ourselves, in essence, an area of support. That's the truth, okay? If Bitcoin can sustain this zone right here, then Bitcoin's going to be working towards the next area up here, which could be the 40K zone. We've got a little bit more work to get through, okay? Now, word on the street is suggesting that money supply is starting to crumble, all right? And you can see that from the US debt clock itself. If you just focus on this figure right here, if you can see, right there, you can see the US M2 money supply is dropping. When money supply drops, it suggests that the Federal Reserve is doing a good job of keeping credit tight. So it's harder to obtain money because they are putting out a fiscal policy to slow the expenditure of money. But is it enough? That's the question. That's what we're looking for. So then we go into tomorrow's data that's coming out. We have the core price index month on a month projected a 0.2%. That is a reduction. That's good news. If it comes in at 0.2, happy days. Prices are coming down. At the same time, they're projecting for inflation year on year to be at 5.2%. If they can get it down to 5.2%, and it does come in at 5.2%, then the market is going to welcome that very well. So any retraces in the charts could be preparing for a move back up. So let's go into the smaller time frames from our day traders. Here we go. Now, check this out. Bitcoin has been doing a good job of consolidating around this 28 zone. We were of the belief that is Mr. Market Maker trying to build shorts above the 28,000, or is he trying to build longs below the 28,000? Remember, when you are buying an asset, the idea is to try and buy it from the lowest point possible and try and sell it from the highest point possible. And likewise, if you're favoring lower prices, you're going to try and sell from the highest point possible and then buy it back at the lowest point possible. That's just standard economics. That ain't no mysterious thing. It's standard economic theory when you're buying and selling assets, okay? Now, when we look at Bitcoin's price action right here, guys, you can see we've moved away from the psychological ranges right here, which are a very important point in the chart. The psychological range suggests the first high and the first low that is formed at the start of a trading week. They've shifted away from that region. That tells us that Mr. Market Maker has an objective. He wants price to go higher. Now, don't get it twisted. This move is pretty extended, all right? We got some nice green vector candles pointing up, and we don't see the commitment of Market Maker just yet. So retail's jumping in. How many of you received your notification from Binance, Bybit, Crypto.com, Coinbase, suggesting that Bitcoin is over 30,000? Happy days. No, Bitcoin shifted out. You've missed out on the opportunity. Quickly, let me get my phone out and start buying up Bitcoin. That's what this area is right now, okay? But because of the data that's coming out tomorrow, we could end up seeing Bitcoin trade sideways for a little bit, okay? Now, with that being said, let's assume that we go into even smaller timeframes to understand what's going on inside of here. Well, look at this. How could we have understood this move? Now, with this big move away from the 50 EMAs, you can see this purple area right here. When you've got a compression of the moving averages, it suggests that volatility is going to come in, okay? Same things happened here, and the hybrid system kind of helped us out about that. Look at this. You see this 50 EMA cloud, this purple area, all right? They couldn't close directly below this cloudy bit right here. That is a signal that price was likely to continue higher. What other areas could we suggest that price was going to continue higher? Draw your attention to this stopping volume candle. What is this candle right here? This candle right here is where the market maker forces price up, because up here, there are traders setting stops. Well, we know that because there's liquidation points that they were wanting to take. So we profile the areas and say, hold on a sec. Where's the money? Because all the way down here, you've got what? $26 billion worth of long liquidations at 22,500. We're not interested in that because it's too far away, especially when we're looking at price inside of this area right here, as you can see on the 28,200 zone. But this stopping volume candle was where they grabbed traders' interest to either open short and open longs. Naturally, price is going to gravitate back to that area. Notice how you have got all these green vector candles right here, which show activity. That shows that there's commitment there. So market maker has got the interest from retail. He marks price up, and then you get that big explosive move. Same thing happens again right here. Look at this candlestick. You see that wick? Happy days. He does it again and starts moving up. Now, I shared a projection to the guys in the Patreon, and this was the logic of the principle of 3. So Bitcoin had come from this 28 zone down here and shifted up, consolidated, and that's where that area was right there. We see the move back up, okay? Now, this is on the 1 hour or 10-minute time frame. We projected that we expected Bitcoin to reach up towards the 30K zone by the idea that market maker moves price in segments of 3. Like 3 is the magic number, okay? Now, we go back into the chart and we can see Bitcoin has done just that by that principle. So we get rid of all of this and then we go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're at this top end right now in Bitcoin. Could we see another move back up in Bitcoin, or are they going to hold Bitcoin's price until the inflation data comes out? Well, we need to just work out what we're dealing with right now. If you remember last week, we were talking about the power of the 50 EMA. Right here, you can see that they are hugging this 50 EMA cloud. If they invalidate the 50 EMA right here, one would be of the idea that Bitcoin's probably going to come and test its daily open. But if it can't break the 50 and it doesn't go deeply into this cloud, we're only favoring higher prices because we understand that market maker is getting interest from traders up at these zones. Notice you're seeing these previous areas that are acting as points of magnets, for the better word, because that's where people are buying. People need a reason to buy right now. Now, let's look at the marketplace outside of Bitcoin to justify that. So we go over to the S&P. Because S&P has a correlation with Bitcoin, and you can see even the S&P from yesterday's price action, sharp move down, sharp move back up, come back into the vector candle recovery zone right here. Happy days. Now they're holding at the daily open with the green vector candle, but the problem we got is they are flat inside of the moving average. So we don't have any volatility just yet, okay? This tells you that there's no volatility because we are stuck within the cloud of the 50 EMA. That's important. Once we cleanly break away either to the upside or to the downside, we're going to have a clearer look at what the momentum would suggest if it's going to continue lower or not. Why? Because price would then break the cloud, come back into it to test it and continue lower. Otherwise, they will break above it, come back into it and continue higher. That's why I'm always suggesting that you always wait for the retrace, however long it takes, okay? Here is an example. Look at this. On the S&P, it's a bit of a difficult retrace, but they came up, they came back into the cloud, and if you opened a long inside of this zone right here, your criteria would have said if it doesn't break the 50 EMA, which is this blue line right here, then I'm only favoring higher prices. So you would naturally then set your risk parameters and say, okay, maybe if I set my exit to be beyond the structure of this area. Why? Because it could recover the green vector candle and bounce away from that point, okay? Well, if you set your stop at the green vector candle recovery, you're out the trade and then you go to bed, wake up the next morning, you see prices moved away. Had you kept your trade open? So when you are setting stops, the lighter you trade, the wider you can absorb potential moves in volatile assets like Bitcoin and, of course, the S&P, okay? Moving on from that, we can see that we've got the S&P right now trying to hold and get ready to recover this red vector candle region right here. Nice top in play right there. But we've got this 1, 2, 3 hits of this zone. But we've got these vector candles up here that we want to be paying attention to, which could suggest that the S&P could attack the 4159 zone if they can hold out from this point. And ultimately, guys, it's about you taking the trade. You're not going to get the definitive approach straight away. It's not going to be guaranteed that your entry is going to be correct. That's what it's all about. It's about playing the game, okay? Now, let's just quickly go back into BTC and find out what the story is. We've got some movement in Bitcoin right now, holding out above the 50 EMA cloud. I'm not seeing any violations of the 50 right now, so I need to understand what's going on with the order flow of Bitcoin. So any of you that might not know, this is the bad boy Bookmap, and we are seeing some interesting price action. Big delta coming in at the top side right there, where we've had nearly 1,690 Bitcoin orders absorbed at that point. This area right here is probably going to be an area that Bitcoin could sell from if they don't have the interest from traders coming in at this point. We've got 653 Bitcoin at 30,250, and we've got 30,300. We've got 684 Bitcoin orders stacked at the 30,300, and it looks like it wants to hold that area. So we're looking for commitment to come inside of here to suggest price is going to continue higher to the upside. Remember, if we zoom out even more, we're going to get a better view of what this area is. So look left, and you can see right here. Look at this. You see that boxed off area? I don't know if you can see it on there. You can see that is where people were selling from. And they placed orders, but they cancelled them at the same time. So we're not seeing commitment down here for people to buy from. We're seeing it happening closer to where price is, and price is moving away from the VWAP. It would suggest that we could see higher prices if they can hold this area, which is at the 30,040 of Bitcoin. And right now we're waiting to see if they can eat 650 Bitcoin at 30,080. So what's happening is price is just jumping up and down. Is it a trap, or are we going to see a continuation higher? The more we see price holding above this 50 EMA cloud, the more inclined we are to believe that price is trying to work its way back up again, okay? Because this is how you trade off, in essence, rise, retrace continuations, okay? You're looking for an invalidation of something. Are we seeing an invalidation of anything? I'm not seeing it. So what am I favoring? Higher prices. Because that's the narrative right now. It looks like Bitcoin's marking up. They've now come to the 50, and there's something that I do say to people. When the moving average comes to price, so you can see the 50 EMA is right here, and it's at price. Look at the 200 EMA. It's far away from price. So from a 200 EMA perspective, volatility looks like there is momentum in the chart, okay? But 50 EMA has come to price, so there's now compression. So there's now agreement with price. Why? Because they're holding it here. And if you favor higher prices by the logic of this 50 EMA cloud, you would then say to yourself, okay, if Bitcoin can move up higher from here, when would I get out? Quite simply, a breach of this 50 EMA cloud and trading lower into and below the 50 EMA cloud right here, that would give you the idea that the momentum may have adjusted in the short term to see lower prices. But I'm not seeing that. So where am I favoring price? To the upside. Okay? With that being said, we need to understand what Bitcoin's doing in terms of order flow. What's the story with order flow right now? Well, S&P has decided to reject the local VWAP right there. Happy days on that rejection, because people that use the VWAP can see the power of the VWAP. Look at it. It's just sharply dropped down. Now, the futures market is now open, so we're going to probably start spitting you some fire and applying some concepts together. So what have we got? Bitcoin trading away from the point of control, which is the difference between the buyers and the sellers and what they agree with. Now, we don't know who's really in control at the point of control. We just know that there are more buyers and more sellers in that area. And based on the way we look at price behaving, we assume that this is either going to be an area of support or an area of resistance. So now let's take that information. We've got at 30,097, the point of control where most of the transactions are based, okay? We then go over to the chart itself and we look at 30,097 and we can see it's right here. So that's where our point of control is there, or roughly there or thereabouts, okay? So if we are of the belief price is going to go higher, we've got the 50 EMA cloud acting as a point of support at this moment in time. Okay? Because in the next 20 minutes, it could be dog shit and it drops. But at this moment in time, this is all we see. So if I make a decision on that principle, I say to myself, hold on. What if Bitcoin can go up and repeat this behavior here? What's my information? Well, I can see bright as day that Bitcoin is holding away from the point of control right here. So that just tells me that there is interest at this point. This could be support. Where's the next area? Well, I look and I can see the value area high right there, and there's commitment up here. There is an agreement that they do want to start paying for prices up here. So aggressive buyers could come in, or passive sellers could get sell orders from this area. Naturally, we are leaning to the idea Bitcoin's going higher. So if they can break the value area high, we are then going into an area of resistance. How long it becomes a resistance for is a different story. Because if you have taken a trade off this logic and you are in a profit sooner rather than later, you're then going to have to start working out where to get out, or in essence, lock a profit. Okay? This is part and parcel, one of the strategies that we talk about in the Patreon. And that's what you learn in the Patreon, how to apply and read the concepts of price action and trade what you can't see. How are we of the understanding that this play was going to lead to this play? Okay, this is what it is. It's because you're understanding or getting an awareness of how the market behaves, because Bitcoin's done this before. It's just a case of finding out the when. Okay. Let's see if Bitcoin's going to actually bring that flavor right now. We've got this interesting area right here. Let's go to the order flow. We've got S&P trying to get above this VWAP right now. So this is going to be critical, because if Bitcoin follows the S&P and S&P drops from here, then we're probably going to see Bitcoin drop as well. All right. So we just need to be very mindful of this area right now, because Bitcoin's doing good to try and trade towards the value area high. And if it can break beyond the value area high, which sits at 30,212, we then go on the idea that it's going to take out this area up here, make its way towards the 30,400, take out the long liquidations, which are currently sat at the 30,600 area, which is $18.4 billion worth of short liquidations. Forgive me, I got that wrong. Okay. And we go back into the chart itself, try and have a look at what Euro's doing. Let's have a look at Euro. Euro's climbing up. Nice little V-shaped play right there. This was another projection that I shared to everyone in the Patreon, talking about the 50 EMA lower band of the cloud, which was, if price was able to break above the lower band of the cloud, then we would see Euro come back into this vector candle region right here. And they've, of course, done that move. And look at this. This is what you're looking for, guys. Check this out. It's these touches right here. Now, I'm saying it in hindsight. That's BS, Tina. All right, cool, cool. So take the same logic of the cloud. Look, price at the 50. You're looking for this. It's hugging the cloud, okay? It's not at the 50. It's hugging the cloud bit. So you place a long and say to yourself, I believe Euro's going to go higher. Why? Because I've got vector candles to the left. It was a sharp move to the downside. And if the narrative is that everything is going up, then Euro has just dropped to only come back up. One other aspect is this. They've just recovered a vector candle zone. Zoom out. Look at Euro. It's just come into a vector candle region right here. Okay? So naturally, when they recover a vector candle, which is what we call these green and blue candlesticks and red, when they recover that area, that tells you that they have just absorbed liquidity. Because for everyone that was going long from here, they've got liquidations in these areas. And of course, on the opposite side, you can see everyone that's gone short has got liquidation areas all the way up here. Okay, so the market then reverses and takes all that liquidity, because when you sell a short, you buy to cover. And when you buy or sell a long, you sell it. That's the transaction that happens, okay? So we go into Euro right now. We can see Euro's tried to come back at this 50 EMA. You favor a long, and then price goes and moves away from it. Look, just by the principle of that 50 EMA cloud. No tests of the 50. Now we've got the same thing. It's come away from the 50 cloud. It hasn't even tested it fully. Price would be of the idea that we're going to try and move away from it. Now, Bitcoin's moving differently. S&P's moving differently. Dollar dominance is moving differently. So we don't really have the disparity that we want, all right? Looking on the 15-minute time frame, you can see dollar makes a nice move to the upside to only come back down, and it seems like it's holding out inside of this region right here. What's weird is the dollar moves up, Euro moves up, Bitcoin moves up, S&P moves up. So we don't have what we call like a disparity. In other words, one thing has to go up, the other has to go down. So when Euro goes up, dollar goes down, but we've got Euro going up and dollar going up. But dollar's not breaking down as much as we would want it to. Now, that could be because we've got markets tomorrow, which are going to be releasing the data on the CPI. So they could be setting everything up. Okay, going over into gold right now, I'm going to start looking at some altcoins, because there are a lot of altcoins that are going to be playing this 50 EMA strategy. So just stick around for this one. Okay, now look. Gold right now is looking like it wants to come back and test this green vector candle region right here. And there's a lot of profit taking in gold, given that we have seen a nice move up by gold. I'd be looking at gold coming down towards these vector candle zones right here and probably zone out at the 1970 region. But that's only if they can invalidate this 800 EMA on the 15-minute time frame, which is this blue line right here. My days. Oil. Here we go. What we got here? Now, oil has been a bit of a pain in the ass, okay? It's not fully recovered this gap right now, and there are a lot of people anticipating this gap, which takes me back to the story of Bitcoin, okay? When people are waiting for it to drop, they will open positions because there's nothing more they can do. And the market will spike up until enough of those positions have changed direction and favored longs where they can instantly reverse it, and eventually the gap gets filled. So you just really want to wait for them because look, notice how oil seems to be spiking, spike, but it doesn't actually break the structure which it actually moved from, which is right here. Look at this. It hasn't broken that zone. What you're looking for is the drop, break the range, trap the traders, reverse it, make them believe that it's going to go higher, and then it will falter inside of this area to look to try and come back down again, fill the gap. Notice the way that they're moving price. It's going lower as it moves up. Higher lows, lower highs. That's the logic of price action, okay? Let's go back into BTC right now a second. What we got? Bitcoin doing anything for us? Still holding out in this area. Still got it above that 50 EMA cloud. Not seeing the pressure just yet. Let me just go into the Bookmap. Have we got any convictions? There we go. Twice again, they've come up to that area. Not really seeing the movement coming in, but they're moving away from the VWAP. Look at that liquidity right there. Oh, man, 850 Bitcoin orders. Oh, they just took 200 off. They just took 200 Bitcoin orders off the 30,280 area. That's important. There's a big area of interest down here, which sits at the 29,680. Quite frankly, guys, I would want Bitcoin to drop so that I'd be more in line to believe that a retrace continuation will be back up. Because that's the problem we've got with the charts right now. People are indecisive as to whether or not Bitcoin's going to continue with this move, okay? Back to the story of the power of the 50 EMA. Are you given a reason to get out of this trade just yet because of Bitcoin's volatility? No, you're not. But are they going to hold the charts? Is it going to stay like this until tomorrow's data? Because I wouldn't want Bitcoin to go up more before the data, because if that's the case, then that could suggest that the data comes out and it's not favorable, okay? I would want it to drop before the data. But we don't know what it's going to do because we're dealing with what it's doing now. And what it's doing right now is it's holding above this zone, so there could be another attempt by Bitcoin to mark up. That's how you come to a story as to whether or not you buy or sell. And that's just my opinion. Some others will believe otherwise. Others are believing that the 30K zone is the indefinite top for Bitcoin, and it's going to take a dump from this area. What do you need to be mindful of if that's going to be the case? Well, looking at the 15-minute time frame, if you're of the belief that this is the top, then Bitcoin needs to invalidate the 50 cloud top band right here and the lower band. And if it can invalidate this area, then the momentum will lead Bitcoin down lower. You would see support coming in at potentially at the 200 EMA, which is what? The last area that they moved away from. So you've got this structure, okay? Now, we've got a violet vector candle coming into Bitcoin, which is a good news because if they can't invalidate the moving averages on these candlesticks like this, that suggests to me that the next candle in the minute and a half or 2 minutes time could lead Bitcoin back up. Are they buying at the highest point within the lowest range so that they can get more longs filled at lower prices to mark price back up? Because that's what the flavor is right now. Now, going into the altcoins that I was just mentioning a few moments ago. Look at these altcoins. So far, we've got Solana that has brought some flavor to the upside, and it's just done the same thing as Bitcoin. It's trying to test that 50 EMA principle right there, okay? Nice, holding above the cloud. The red vector candle fails to try and break down lower, so that's really interesting for us. We would assume that if most of the altcoins right now are above the 50 EMA. So what you're looking for is if they can hold this structure like this. That's what's important. The longer they can hold this area, the more chances we're going to see price continue back up. That's what we're looking for. Looking across here, we see the S&P has made a nice move back up, so it's holding out, which is very interesting. Let me just go and have a look at another coin. KAVA, starting to roll over. Now, remember, just because altcoins may be rolling over right now, doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to do it. It's just Bitcoin doesn't need to move much lower to get the altcoins to move down, okay? So what we've got here, hold on. Let me just look at that. Let me just go to KAVA. Guy gave me a heads-up tip on that move. I'm pressing Control-Z. If my indicator doesn't pop up. Okay, so KAVA is doing probably the same thing. Got no 50 EMA, got some vector candles right here. Here we go. Nice green vector candles right here. Now, I expect altcoins. Now, here's a little tip for you. altcoins are more prone to recover vectors sooner rather than later. Why? Because they are lightly traded. In other words, there's not that much liquidity behind them in compared to Bitcoin, all right? And they are volatile. So you can see how they recover these vector candles frequently, okay? So we are now waiting for KAVA to, in essence, hold out and stay above this 50 EMA cloud. The longer they stay above this cloud, the more inclined we are to believe it's going to continue and move higher, okay? All you got to do is look left and suggest that, is there a chance that this area is going to act as an area of resistance? Because if it is, we're going to wait for him to break down, go to the lower time frames and look at price on the 50 EMA on the 5-minute time frame. And look, this is the 5-minute time frame. Look, it's currently at that range. It's flat on the 50. So you're waiting for a move. The red vector here has failed to break down beyond the 50 cloud. So now we've got more information about this. This is where we're going to see if it can hold this zone or not. If you are bold enough to say, I'm going to take a trade on that logic or that principle, there's nothing else you can do, because that's what trading is about. You make a calculated guess. It's all probabilities. The longer you hold on to the trade for, the more you are wrong, the more you are going to be irrational as to whether or not you close it. Know when to get out, because once the trade is open, you have to know when to get out. And if you don't know when to get out, you know the market maker is going to eat your capital, and you can't be irrational. He can. That's the truth of the marketplace. Going into BNB right now, consolidating and holding out. Same again, most altcoins are currently stacked above their moving average, especially on the 5-minute time frame and 15-minute time frame, but we've got this compression in the chart, so we are waiting. Now, looking at the time, we've got 15 minutes until the start of a new 1-hour candle where the Brinks box will be finishing, okay? Now, when the Brinks box finishes, that's where we're going to start seeing the flavor of price across the board. So Bitcoin now is looking like it wants to hold on to that 50 EMA on the 5-minute time frame. It's come away from it. So now we see that we've got volatility coming into play. So we now want to know if Bitcoin does have the capacity to continue higher and try and take out this vector candle region up here at 30,429. Why? Because that's where people are buying and selling. The market has to move to areas of value. All right, that brings me over to EXO Charts again. Look, Bitcoin has now just come back down towards that point of control and tested it because more contracts have come into play. Notice it was at 2,000, now it's at 2,100. The S&P is breaking down beyond the VWAP itself, and we notice that the S&P itself is trying to stay away from the value area low. If it can't hold above the point of control, which currently sits at the 4,140, if it can't get above that area, that's where most of the sellers are currently sat. So price is going to reject it and drop. Likewise, if Bitcoin can hold above the point of control, then we are of the impression that the point of control has predominantly got more buyers that are interested at protecting their positions to start moving price up. So that's where we're going to start seeing sellers or passive sellers engage in opening orders to get their orders sold at higher prices. Okay, so now Bitcoin's starting to make a little bit of a move. No move just yet towards the value area high, which is what I really need to see Bitcoin doing to be more comfortable with it. Here we go, coming away from that 50. We go on to the 10-minute time frame. What have we got right now? 50 EMA cloud, still holding out. Got no reason to believe Bitcoin's going lower because they've swiped lower and moved price back up again. Induced the retail trader to go short, and he's now paying the price for it. Stopping volume candle comes into play. Another stopping volume candle right there on the green vector candle. Cool. Let's have a look at Bookmap for a second. Here we go. Coming up into that liquidity area right there, man. We need to break that, because if they do break that, then all of these guys right here are going to see a nice commitment. Ooh, look at that. 962 Bitcoin orders at 30,080. What's going on there? 971 Bitcoin orders now. 30,080. That suggests, oh, they just dropped 70 of them. That suggests to us that there is interest in this area to sell or to buy. Well, if it's below price, it suggests limit buys. So we know that if price does try and come back down to this area, limit buys are going to take over to hold out this area right here. As you can see, look, this area here. Because up here, there's lots of liquidity. They're going to get interest from traders if they mark it up again. Take that logic of the hybrid system. I can't even say it. Take the logic of the hybrid system. Look at your market structure. What's going on here? Traders are either trapped or excited to get in. So people that miss the move here are going to be watching price, hoping that it's going to go up. So the market's going to facilitate that. It's going to move up from this area, move to an area where it can get interest. Value book right here, value area high. This is an area where they can seek extra value because we know that this area right here is where the value is agreed. So what does the market need to do? It needs to go to another area where they can get the same agreement for a period of time and then move it back into a specific area where they can garner the same interest so that I don't lose you. Value area high, value area low are just the price ranges of where people are prepared to buy and sell from. Value area high is the extreme that people are happy to pay and buy and sell from. Value area low is the extreme that people are happy to buy and sell from. Just two different price points, but they have a different meaning. The meaning is simple. The more you see price edging towards the value area high, once they get it up towards the value area high, which sits at the 30,209, that is where we are of a belief that more money is coming in because they see price going higher. But it's an area of resistance because it can only stay up there for a certain period of time. Where is the agreement? It's all inside of here, which is what we call the point of control. Now, as long as Bitcoin can stay away from this point of control, things are favorable to the upside. If it can't, then we're going to know that the buyers can't sustain this area. So that's how you break down the logic of where and what price could do. Because guys, straight up, man, you just don't know what it's going to do. Okay? When you day trade, these are the sort of things that you take into consideration when you are trading. All right? You are getting new information continuously and continuously where your one move could be favoring higher prices. The next move is going to be favoring lower prices, especially when you trade on the 1 minute time frame like the nut job that I am. I'm always looking for this volatility. I can see, look, it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. What do I favor? Go into higher time frames, 10-minute time frame. I can see it's not broken down the 50 EMA cloud. I have no reason to believe Bitcoin's going to go down. And listen, if they sharply move down, that's even more of a belief to me that they can maintain this move to the upside. Why? Because it's just a quick profit taking by a market maker. That's it. He doesn't want to give the retail trader the belief that the price is going to come lower and he's going to make it easier for them. He has to do it at speed because he then needs you to commit your liquidity and engage your margin or your liquidation point to be triggered so that he can set his orders up to hit them when you get liquidated. That's the sad truth of the marketplace, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Let's see how many of you are in the room. 1,384 of you beautiful people checking in and only 400 of you like the stream. What's going on, gang? Come on, man. I've missed you all. I hope I do bring some flavor to you and put some smiles on your faces. Hope you are feeling good after this live stream. We ain't done yet, ladies and gentlemen. How long have we got currently on the live stream? What time is it? A 37-minute live stream. I think that should be good enough for you all. Ladies and gentlemen, mad love and respect for passing through to today. I hope you're all there with your smiles, but check in with us later on this evening because we're going to just take a look at where we are in the macro aspect of the marketplace, what's going on with the Federal Reserve and all the madness that's about to unfold with the CPI data tomorrow. Mad love and respect, gang. Hit the subscribe button and I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow. Peace. Well, later on. Yeah.